Preview. Preview.
Are you serious? Are you serious? A terrible situation in Sierra Leone, just near the capital city of Freetown. A mudslide of biblical proportion. You can see it in my thumbnail. As it just flowed. I mean, mud. It's flowing like a river, but it's mud. And it's just destroying. They expect hundreds of people are likely dead, according to the West African country's vice president. The incident happened when the hillside in the region area of Freetown collapsed today, and sending mud sliding down and covering houses where people were sleeping this morning. It's likely that hundreds are lying dead underneath the rubble. The disaster is so serious that I myself, said the vice president, feel broken. And the authorities are cordoning off the area, trying to evacuate people. An official at the mortuary in Freetown told the national broadcasters that more than 200 bodies have already been brought in and were being stored in the morgue's floor, since the facility did not have capacity for all the corpses. The mudslide followed heavy rains in Sierra Leone, a poor country where the infrastructure was already devastated by an outbreak of Ebola virus back in 2013 through 2016, which killed almost 4,000 people in the country of Sierra Leone and more than 11,000 people in the world. The images that are being shared right now on social media, folks, I've looked at them. They're of a biblical proportion, with mud chest high, mud. Just so heavy and powerful, it just kills you so quickly. It's worse than water, folks. It's worse than flooding of water. The hillside just collapsed on the heavy monsoon rains. And we already know the 165 people were killed in Nepal, India, and Bangladesh in the last 3 or 4 days. But now we have this horrific mudslide situation in Sierra Leone. Pray for this, folks. Please pray for them. Please pray for these people. We've had a solar flare that has erupted on the sun. It is a C1 class explosion. Now, during a solar maximum, such a solar flare would be considered too minor to report. But, however, the sun is close to solar minimum. So even a C flare is noteworthy. Matter of fact, it is noteworthy because a C1 class flare releases as much energy as 1 billion World War II atomic bombs. What? 1 billion World War II atomic bombs, and only on the sun, which itself is unbelievably a nuclear explosion itself, really, would such a blast be even considered puny? Because really, it's not puny. I mean, you have to understand the amount of energy that's being released from the sun in these events. So, because of this solar, and the fact that the solar winds, which yesterday were running about 580 kilometers per second, today they're right now at 470 kilometers per second. Then you have this C1 class solar flare eruption. So we have CMEs now headed toward us that are going to impact our Earth, and that we are going to feel them because the winds are blowing strong. It's Earth facing. The flare was powerful. And as it comes up on the Earth, we're going to feel the effects of it. And the fact that we've had 44 earthquakes in the last 24 hours of significance says to me that we are already shaking and quaking a lot. And oh, by the way, while this is all going on, 204 fireballs crashing through the Earth's atmosphere in the last 24 hours is insane. But we got all this volatility going on with this hypercane or hurricane, hypercane potentially forming in the Gulf. and, excuse me, not the Gulf, I said the Gulf, in the Atlantic. And it's headed toward, if it pulls together, if Tropical Storm Gert merges with this storm coming off the coast of Africa, if they merge, it will create the hyper hurricane of all times. Are you serious? So we're watching it very closely and hoping that that doesn't happen. But there's a real possibility, folks. There's a real possibility. So let's keep a close eye on it. Pray a lot. The east coast of the United States could be threatened by something of biblical proportion. Yellowstone continues to give quakes, and there's the bubonic plague in the fleas in Arizona, and some kind of scorpion locust in Arizona that bit this guy in the arm, and sightings have been seen in the state of Arizona. So we don't know what's going on in Arizona, but we can definitely see that we're in the last days. What's doomsday? What? Doomsday dens. That's what they call them in Israel. There's over 1 million bunkers in Israel, bomb shelters protecting this nation that is hated by almost every nation, surrounding this small navel of the earth. In Israel, it is a way of life. Bomb shelters, underground bunkers, doomsday dens, and people aren't walking around in fear. I've been there 7 times. I can tell you they don't. But they know where the bomb shelters are. There's over 1 million of them in the country. And when the sirens go off, people know right where to go. They run and get inside the bomb shelters, inside the dens, to protect themselves from an onslaught of attack by the enemy. It becomes a way of life. But they've decided to, inside those dens, to paint them, put borders up. They have gymnasiums in there. They do dance classes. They do all kinds of things. They utilize these locations. There's no need to just crawl and hunker down in fear. They've got recording studios. Some local bands practice in the dunes because they can get down there. There's soundproof. They can all kinds of options. So people have decided that if they ever have to go into these and have to stay for a long period of time, they want to make sure that they have running water and ability to electricity, generators and different ways that they can maintain a halfway decent life inside there. Matter of fact, some people even use these as apartments and live in there. And so this is the doomsday dens. It's a new way of life in Israel. In this apocalyptic age, the nation that you think is has the most danger, maybe the safest place actually on earth. And forget the fact that they've got the dens. Remember, they've got the Lord. Makes it kind of safe, doesn't it? Are you serious? Give your life to Jesus Christ, Yeshua, the Messiah. The monsoon rains and landslides and extensive flooding is really destroying a lot of area in Nepal, at the very top of the world in Nepal. Matter of fact, 49 people are dead, 17 people are missing. There's been over 500 rescues, and there's a lot more damage than that. That's just the beginning. Now, it is so bad that the government of Nepal is not only using every raft, boat, and helicopter they can get their hands on, but some of this terrain is so treacherous and so difficult that they've deployed elephants. Are you serious? What? Yes, elephants. They're riding on top of elephants to get through the deep floodwaters to rescue people. The desperation has gotten this traumatic. So pray for the people of Nepal as we're witnessing events that we never thought we'd ever see. But this is the time we're in. Very strange times. Are you saved? The apocalypse is coming. The solar eclipse is going to be here in a few days. What does this mean for the world? Well, it's just a warning sign, I believe, and specifically for the nation of the United States. But the whole world is on edge. Tensions have risen. the fighting, the violence, the racial tensions in Charlottesville, Virginia, the wars, the rumors of wars in the Korean Peninsula and abroad, the ISIS and the Muslim militants attacking people in the Middle East. It's just insane. It's just insane. Don't be left behind. Christ is coming soon.